Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Alex Dworkin and I'm a managing partner at 40 Capital. We specialize in a very unique mathematical approach to the stock market where we calculate the market in four-dimensional space. And then on top of that, we have a number of very unique timing variables that we use. And when we put it all together, we can essentially predict the stock market and individual stocks with amazing accuracy in both price and time, and typically on multiple time frames, whether we're talking about long-term analysis or short-term analysis. I personally believe our work is nearly identical to what Jim Simmons was able to accomplish at Renaissance Technologies, if you're familiar with Jim. Now, I can talk about this for a very long time, probably weeks on end. Instead, I've included a description link in the description of this video. If you would like to learn more about our work, I do encourage you to click on the link and check it out. You'll see our calculations, you'll see the proof, you'll see how we approach the market and individual stocks, and you're going to be able to learn all about that. And also, don't forget to subscribe, because we typically post 4 to 5 videos per week, typically looking at individual stocks, whether it's large caps or some of our fast movers, some of our super equities as we call them. So I believe you'll find it very interesting. So today's we're looking at one of our mega cap weekly stocks, which is T-Mobile, T as a stock symbol. And right off the bat, there isn't particularly much interesting going on in the stock. It's been rallying for some time since this bottom, but going forward there's very little to anticipate or expect going forward. Just a major or minor top, depending on your definition of it, and a subsequent decline. So I'll talk about that in a second, but before I do, what I'd like to do is kind of explain what these triangles are at the top and the bottom, and the rest of the stuff to our new visitors, to our new subscribers. So basically what you're seeing at the bottom and the top of the chart are what we call cycle composites. And cycle composites are very similar to Hurst cycles, if you're familiar with that, but much more complex as we use them, because we both use for the bottoms, and they typically represents the bottoms of the stocks, and we use top composites for the tops, and they often represents the tops as they roll along. Now, what makes matter even more complicated, there are multiple composites running in any given stock or any given stock index at the same time. So for example, for the Dow Jones, there are at least 2 or 3 composites running at the same time. I believe this stock has 2, but if you're aware of it and you know how to put it together, you can essentially replicate what you see on the chart here, okay? And therefore you're going to be able to make very accurate projections going forward. So as you can see, if we look at this chart and we click at this major cycle top, we're going to see July 3rd, 2025 as the major top projection. Now this particular, as you can see, this particular cycle composite has a significant margin of error associated with it. So I think it's approximately 8 years. So very easily it has a plus or minus 2 months variance associated with it. So that's the time window when this particular stock is supposed to top, okay? And then it's anticipated that it's going to decrease into this particular mid-cycle bottom, which is scheduled for, let's say, it says January 2026, but we need to adjust these cycles a little bit more to account for this. So let's say first middle of 2026 approximately, particularly if we consider our overall stock market forecast. Now, the lines you see on the chart are essentially we call them cycle clusters. So what we can do is we've identified a number of proprietary cycles that we work with, and we can scan the chart back and then identify all of those cycles and then project them into the future. And that's what you see on the chart. So what we found over the years is that important turning points, particularly long-term turning points, typically happen when there's a number of cycles there's a number of cycles that arrive at the same time, as opposed to a singular cycle. So if we have 2, 3, 4, particularly if they're very powerful cycles, longer term cycles, we rest assured there's going to be a significant turning point at that juncture. But if we have 1, 2, so-so cycles, the probability of a turning point happening there is not very significant. With that in mind, when these cycle clusters line up with the major cycle projection that we see here, we can be assured that there's going to be a turning point. So in this particular case, it is indicating that we are topping as we speak. Now the green dots you see on the chart here, it's a bit of a busy chart, but these are the three-dimensional calculations that I talked about in the beginning of the video. And basically they project where both time and price will terminate. So if we zoom in here, let me just, for illustration purposes only, let me zoom in here. So one of these dots in conjunction with this particular top, with the clusters, and these particular three-dimensional calculations indicate that we're going to have a significant turning point associated with AT&T arriving around here, and it's quite possible, quite likely as a matter of fact, that we're already seeing the top right here. It arrived, I believe, on July 1st or June 30th, something like that. So it's very close to this, nearly a perfect hit at this particular cycle. So all time price variables for I keep trying to say T-Mobile. This is not T-Mobile. This is AT&T. For AT&T, I've been satisfied, and the stock is essentially ready to turn down. Let me show you another calculation or another variant of our three-dimensional calculations, and it is right here. And yeah, as you can see, this particular time and price projection has been satisfied as well. So what happens next? Well, next the stock declines into that mid-cycle bottom that I showed you, that is scheduled to arrive in the middle of June of 2026. And one of the reasons that I mentioned earlier that we not particularly have any interest in this stock at this time is because it's not expected to do much. It's probably most likely is going to retrace. We do have some calculations, but we didn't even bother to look at them because it's not showing anything of interest. But it's likely to retrace at least half of this move. Perhaps the extent of the decline is going to be retesting this bottom. But as you can imagine, it's not of any particular interest, especially if we consider the short side and risk associated with it. It is not something that we'd like to play with. So that's the analytical conclusion. And yeah, that's AT&T for you. Particularly, perhaps this is going to be more interesting for the people who follow the stock or have positions in the stock. But yeah, that's basically the bottom line for it. It's topping, and it's going to decline into the middle of next year, and it's not of any particular interest because even the decline itself is not going to be powerful. It's not going to be fast. It's not going to be volatile. So there's just nothing to do with this stock. But it gives us also a perfect illustration of how we can, because if you followed our prior videos, you know that we've been looking at quite a few bottoms, and subsequently we anticipate those bottoms to increase quite dramatically to the tune of 2x, 5x, 10x, and so on and so forth. And it is just important, I believe, personally, to know when not to get involved in this stock, because it's either going to be dead money or it's going to be stuck in the trading range. And T-Mobile at this juncture is just one of those stocks. So I think that's it for today. Please click on the links that we have in the description of the video. Please subscribe. We do have, there's also a link to a webinar that we're going to do in the next week on Tuesday, I believe. I do encourage you to sign up. That is the only place where we do the overall market analysis. So we talk about our mathematical approach to the stock market in a little bit more detail, as well as we take a look at the overall stock market and what that's going to do going forward. And the final thing before I leave you with this is we do have a subscription service associated with our business. It is typically quite expensive, but we do offer a 30-day free trial with no credit cards, no strings attached. So if you would be interested in taking a look at some of our other stocks, the opportunities about to run, the ones that we've been talking about last week and the week before that, I do encourage you to request a free trial and check it out. See what you can find and how you can benefit and profit. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. We'll be back with another update tomorrow. I believe we're going to be looking at copper. Thank you. Bye-bye.